What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Blue Root Pod. I am Chris, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Very special show for you today. A special guest joins us to talk some Sixers basketball and the NBA draft, which is a week away. If you guys like what you see, make sure you hit like and subscribe below. Thanks for watching, guys. Go Sixers. What's up, guys? It's Chris, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Today, we got a very special guest on the Blue Root Pod. Without a doubt, one of the hardest workers in sports radio. If you're an early riser like myself, you can hear him on Bob Cooney on the Fanatic at 5. You can hear him on Mark and Trey in the mornings on 97.5. Pretty sure he works while he sleeps.
What's sleep?
If you don't know already, make sure you follow him on Twitter, at J.E. Lynch Jr. Many of us know him as the Bro, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Blue Root Pod, man. Welcome, Jamie Lynch. What's going on, man?
Not much. Thanks for having me on. It's very cool. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for thinking of me. And we got some exciting times ahead here in Philly, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, man. Yeah, let's start off. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you got going on right now?
So just personally real quick, grew up in Bucks County, went to LaSalle High School, went to college down in DC. I always knew I wanted to work in sports kind of production. I was dumb enough to pursue this professionally, and here I am after, it happened in the blink of an eye. I think I'm close to 12 years into the industry already. Worked for Sunday Night Football for a while with Mark in the mornings here. I've done some pretty cool stuff, had a great career early on, and I'm very fortunate that I get to do this every day as something I care so much about,
It's awesome.
Yeah, so just, we're gearing up here for the slow time of the year, which is kind of July and early August. Hopefully the Phillies will carry us through that. And, the next 2-3 weeks with the Sixers is going to be awesome. And then, next thing we know, training camp will be here and football is back.
I know. I'm just hoping, I'm a 4-for-4 guy, but I'm just hoping the Phillies are a nice distraction to get me through to NBA draft, then it's summer league, then it's training camp. Then you're golden.
Yeah. It'll be great. I got the football itch for the first time 2 weeks ago. I was like, all right, I'm ready.
Can't wait, man. Just dreams of Carson to Deshaun.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun this year.
Yeah. So we're nearly 1 week away from the NBA draft. The Sixers have 5 draft picks. Most of any team. All right, Jamie, put yourself in Elton Brand's shoes. What is your mindset heading into draft for the Sixers? And, what are some of your greatest positions of need for the team?
My 2 biggest positions of need are a backup point guard and a backup center. This is kind of assuming that you get majority of the guys back. I think Jimmy's coming back. I think that looks really good. Tobias, I don't really know about. So we'll see there. But in terms of entering the draft, either some shooting or backup center or backup point guard. A guy like Ty Jerome out of University of Virginia.
Yeah.
He's a very good distributor. If Ben Simmons isn't going to shoot, I need a backup point guard that can give me a little more offensively. I think he would be a nice option there at 24. A guy like Cam Johnson from the University of North Carolina. Not the best defender in the world by any means, but he can shoot. And he is I believe he's a senior, so he's a 4-year player, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a junior.
He's definitely older, yeah.
I think the days of the Furkan Korkmazes and Timothy Luwawu Cabarros, those days are behind us now, and now you have to draft for need. And I wouldn't mind some 4-year college player types coming to this team that can step right in and contribute.
Yeah, you definitely nailed it. Seems like the sexiest pick right now seems to be Cam Johnson.
Yeah, I like that shot a lot.
45% from 3. Definitely, like you said, the defense, that's the one thing that's got me hung up on him. I'm worried about his lateral, his foot speed.
Yeah, it's not the best, but I'll take a shot like that anytime on my team, especially if it's a bench player.
And it'd be really interesting to see him kind of groom. If they are able to sign Tobias Harris this summer, that would be kind of an interesting kind of grooming player for, because we saw it with Ersan and Dario. The Sixers like to do that. We saw JJ and Landry.
Yeah.
So the Sixers kind of like to mold their players after someone. So that would be kind of a nice fit.
Yeah, I just I can't do T.J. McConnell anymore. I love him, but I need a backup point guard that can bring more offensively to the table. Because if Ben's not going to develop his offensive game a little bit more, if he doesn't take that next step, you can't have 2 point guards that are offensively challenged.
Were you a big shot Bob guy, Robert Covington guy?
I liked him, but I wasn't in love with him. Like I kind of, I stuck up for him on the airwaves because I do think his defense was somewhat underrated. But I mean, that Boston series, it was hard to keep confidence. He disappeared. I mean, he literally was fouling to bring himself out of the games. So that series, I really lost a little bit of confidence. So to me, I mean, that Jimmy Butler trade was the biggest no-brainer in the history of trades. You got an elite talent for what I think was a pretty okay player. Like, he's good, but he's not great. Mario may just have been an average player,
One of the major players for me is Matisse Thybulle.
Uh-huh.
Extremely versatile guard.
He's a Washington kid, right?
Yes, sir. I don't know. How you feel about dropping a Washington guy?
Washington guards. I'm scared of those Pac-12 guys. After the prep, 6 years.
One of the best defenders in the draft, man. Yeah. He's a senior, guy that could be a legit role player. 36% from 3, 3-and-D. Maybe Robert Covington, but you look at his steal percentage; it's a ridiculous 6.7%. Could he be the next Rocco in this draft? What are your thoughts on Thybulle?
He's a hell of a player, and he's projected to go kind of right around where the Sixers are picking. I was looking at NBADraft.net this morning, and I think he was going to the Spurs there. So usually if the Spurs like a guy or are tied to a guy, there's probably something you can work with there at the next level.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I love the 4-year players this year. I want a 4-year or a 3-year player of a major program. He is that. He's 6'6". As you said, defensively, if you're on the second unit, if you can bring some intense defense, I mean, that's a plus for the team. I'd be okay with him. I jest about the Washington thing, but yeah, I'd be cool with him totally at 24. I really I don't want a diaper dandy per se. I want a guy that's done it on a high level of college, and he fits the bill.
Yeah, he's my guy. I really hope he falls to 24. I love the idea of having a guy like that can defend multiple positions. That's the future of the NBA.
Yeah,
and I believe in his shot. Transition to the next level.
I'd be very okay with him there at 24. Defense is all the rage now, and a guy like Ben Simmons almost gets underrated because he can guard 1 through 5 in the league, and it's not many guys can do that. And obviously he doesn't have a shot, but he can do that, and people like to just brush that over like it's nothing. And it's no, that's pretty damn tough.
I have dreams of Ben Simmons, Zaire Smith, and Matisse Thybulle just being the death squad on defense.
It's going to be exciting to watch Zaire Smith too. I mean, on top of the 3 early picks you kind of have, you're also getting him back as well, which kind of becomes a new first-round pick in a way. So it's almost like you get 2 first-round picks this year with Zaire. Hopefully, an off-season of conditioning, gets his body back to where he was. And man, I think that kid is an athlete. I think he's going to be a bulldog for you. I think he's got the right attitude. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch Zaire in addition to whoever else they pick at 24.
That was a major killer for the Sixers.
Oh, my God. How did that happen?
Having a guy that can defend the backcourt, the point guard and shooting guard. And next year, to get a Thybulle and Zaire Smith, I mean, you just score that up immediately.
Yeah, they lack some defense on the second unit this year. And especially, ideally, I'd love to move J.J. Redick to being my 6th man. And if you're going to do that, obviously you need some guys defensively that can pick up some slack there. So, that could be a great situation.
Speaking of JJ, so another player that's getting major buzz right now is Carson Edwards.
Yeah, I'd love him at 33 or 34.
Yeah.
I would take a shot on that kid every day.
Really impressed with his pre-draft workout. We had Jason Blevins there in Camden covering it. He just came away just blown away from Carson.
He's just 100% muscle. He's he's got that attitude, and you see it in the tournament. I mean, you're not tying Steph Curry's marks in NCAA tournament play if you don't have a little bit of it. You know what I mean?
Was like 2 threes.
Yeah, like I'll take a shot on that type of kid every day at pick 33.
Yeah, he's got like that Steph Curry range.
Yeah.
He's got easily one of the best YouTubes out there. Yeah, but talk about JJ. So like he's a guy that thrives at running off screens, shooting over screens.
That's kind of my problem with him as a starter anymore. I like his game a lot. I do. I mean, he's one of the best 3-point shooters ever. It's hard not to like it. But when you have to design an entire offense around getting him his shots, a guy like Tobias Harris kind of falls by the wayside a little bit, because it's like Tobias is sitting there going like, what am I like the 4th or 5th option here? Like he's a pick and roll type of player. Jimmy Butler is a pick and roll type of player. And when you stress so hard to get JJ his shots, it brings Embiid out a lot. You kind of forget about Tobias a little bit. I just feel like so much of the offense gets directed at JJ. I just want a 2 that can create a shot on his own. So I think that's something they lack, especially when it comes to the playoffs. You can't have an entire backcourt of guys that can't create their own shot.
Yep.
So I just want a more athletic 2. I think JJ would be awesome as a 6th man, come in, fill it up, bomb away. He'd still get, his 26 minutes probably, maybe 24 minutes, something like that. So I would love that, but I don't know who that 2 is that you would replace him with right now.
The Sixers have the most picks in the draft. Do you see any players like in the top half of the first round that you think the Sixers could make a move for?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the other option they have is certainly packaging 33 and 34 with 24. I mean, that might be able to get you up to like kind of like that maybe 18 range, I'm guessing, 18, 19 kind of. There's nobody really there. I mean, I like Brandon Clark from Gonzaga a little bit. If he was to be a backup center type, I guess kind of power forward, because he's a little shorter than a true center. But I don't know if I like him enough to trade up for him. Bol certainly he intrigues me a little bit.
I love Bol.
Yeah. I think he's projected kind of in like that 13 to 16 type of range. The guy Jackson Hayes from Texas is certainly intriguing, but then again, he's a diaper dandy type of kid. I don't know if I would necessarily move up per se, but obviously if Elton has somebody on his board in that range, it would make a lot of sense to go get him.
I would love Bol. I think in the ESPN mock draft last night, they had him falling to like the low 20s.
Yeah, I think if he's there, they might make a move.
That's my guy. I like Tyler Herro. I like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but Bol would be such a great addition because he can space the floor, protect the rim, and of course, that's insurance for Embiid. So
and I think you saw Embiid's game plan this year in Kawhi Leonard. I think that's the way you treat him going forward. Yep. I think he's a 62, 63 game a year guy. You got to have him rested and ready for the playoffs. This year was. This one's going to eat me alive for a while because, man, if Joel Embiid is healthy, you can't convince me they don't beat the Raptors there. And we see what the Raptors are now. And frankly, we've given them their best punch. And that was with a, 75, 80% Joel Embiid. So, a backup center is crucial. I think you can get that guy in the draft. And then they're going to play a big role because they're probably going to start close to 20 games a year. So, I think that's what Joel Embiid is for his career, and therefore that makes the backup center position incredibly important to this team.
Could not agree more. Have you watched any of the finals? I've watched 0 finals. I'm still recovering from the Kawhi Leonard game.
I've been watching some, but the times they start is usually my bedtime. So I usually catch like the first quarter and then kind of watch like replays when I wake up and recaps and stuff. So it kind of sucks, but my hours just aren't really there for 9, 12 start times.
Yeah, every time I see the Toronto Raptors on the TV, I'm just like, that was us. That should be us.
I know. We gave them their best chance so far.
Right on, man. All right, so the Sixers have 4 second-round picks, more specifically 33 and 34. I highly, highly doubt that they're going to keep all these picks, but let's pretend they do. Who are some players Sixers fans should know, keep an eye on in the second round?
We talked about him. Carson Edwards, I think, is definitely an intriguing type of player. Sometimes the guys we talked about earlier, Cam Johnson and Ty Jerome, depending on what mocks you look at, they could be late first round. They could be right there in the second round. If you had a chance to get Ty Jerome at 33, I'm jumping at that opportunity.
Uh-huh.
We'll see what happens with Cam Johnson. I think that the defense knock will make him fall some. There's a guy locally, Eric Pascal, that is certainly intriguing. I don't know how well he's going to translate. He's kind of like that in-betweener mode. He's got a decent mid-range game. He might interest me some. Grant Williams, the power forward out of Tennessee. You could kind of use that type of bruiser a little bit. So I wouldn't mind something like that as well. There's a lot of options there, and I hate to say I'm okay with a lot of them, but I'm okay with a lot of them. I would like Carson Edwards and Ty Jerome as my 1-2. We'll see what happens after that.
Another guy I have my eye on is Chuma Okeke.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that he's probably not going to play next year. But I would love to watch him. I do the beat stuff for the Delaware Bluecoats.
Okay, nice.
I would love to watch him develop in Delaware for next season. I think he's going to be back in January, but great 3-and-D prospect, nearly a 40% shooter from three, great at generating steals, high riser, great finisher. I just don't think the Sixers are willing to invest in that.
I mean, that's kind of like their thing now. Now that it's Elton's show, you kind of have to draft, shift your draft philosophy a little bit. Before you were able to take like those risks, those guys you could stash a little bit. Now you need help. I mean, they have 4 guys under contract basically entering the season. So you're going to need some bodies, and you're going to need some bodies that can contribute. That's why I'm all giddy about like these 3- and 4-year players, because I think you need that experience.
Let's talk about bodies. What's your take on Taco Fall?
I heard Tyrone Johnson from the Mike Miss show talking about it. He asked Mike, like, would you? Because I believe Taco can touch the top of the basket standing still, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
like the wingspan is like something like 8'11". Like, it's crazy.
Wow.
I'm intrigued, but I wouldn't take him because the backup center position on the Sixers is going to be, you're going to be a starter 20. To me, he's kind of Boban-esque. Where he's very limited in what he can do. As a defensive stopper, like in a specialist, if he wanted to be my 13th guy on the bench that I just brought in for literally plays around the rim and kind of like a specialist, maybe. But I don't know if he'll translate. It's intriguing, though.
I mean, what do they have, like 55?
Yeah.
What do you expect to get out of the 55th?
Oh, I actually have a guy that I kind of fell in love with in the tournament, and he was projected late second round. Now I'm not even seeing him on the mocks anymore, and that's Johnny Dawkins' son, Aubrey, from UCF. To me, like what I saw in the tournament, I went, that's a guy that's worth a risk at 58. He was a perimeter player with a pretty nice shot. He showed some athleticism and getting to the rim and some quickness. I would totally take a shot on a guy like that and, maybe send him down to Delaware and say, let's see what you got.
I would, for the very least, we could draft Taco Fall, and maybe he'll be in John Wick 3 or John Wick 4. He'll replace Boban. And we could talk about giant hands for another season. That'd be worth it for a second-round pick. Right?
Yeah. That'd be fun. I mean, it's intriguing. The second round's a total crapshoot, but, if you landed Draymond Green type, what the hell? A guy like Admiral Schofield, 4-year player from Tennessee, he could be there like at 58 or 54 or whatever. I don't see how a guy like that can't help you a little bit in some capacity. But you got to get, I think, you got 4 picks in the second?
Yeah. I
think you got to get one and just, we're not setting the ceiling too high here. I think you got to get one guy out of the second round there that can contribute.
Yep. All right. I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions.
Sure.
Ready, man?
Yeah.
All right. Favorite Sixers draft memory?
Wow. I remember my dad took me we had a partial season ticket package when we were young, and I think we used to get invited to the draft parties. And I was down there in I believe it was the Spectrum still, for the Jerry Stackhouse draft. And I was a UNC kind of like geek a little bit, so I was very excited at that draft. and I think we were down. Was it I wonder if it was the Wachovia Center back then, or Wells Fargo, or First Union.
You said
I can't remember what year. That was 90. Let's see, that was probably like 95, 96.
It's got to be Wachovia.
Yeah, but we were down there at the draft party, and I remember that being like really cool because I love Stackhouse. So that was probably like my favorite. Yeah.
All right. If you had to choose one between Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler, who's it going to be?
I mean, it's Jimmy, but I do like Tobias a lot, and with the age, it's Jimmy. It's Jimmy.
Cool. All right. Little side here. Listen to this 97.5 Fanatic. I know you're the big concert guy. Any major concerts this summer? And what was the best band you've ever seen live?
Wow. My wife and I were actually just talking about this the other day because she has a couple concerts she wants to hit. I really Father John Misty is a guy that we both really like. He's performing at the Met. I sometimes I pick the venue over the band almost in a way. I really want to get to the Mann Center this summer. I haven't really looked at their lineup yet. Run the Jewels, honestly, maybe one up there is one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Cool.
God, best concert I've ever seen. That's a tough one. I'd almost need to like look at my concert book of tickets. I saw Black Froze with Zeppelin.
Ooh, nice.
Back in the day at the East Center, which was pretty cool. Wait, was that Black Froze and Zeppelin? Yeah. Or maybe it was Bonham, John Bonham Jr. I forget what was that show? Damn it. My brain is a mush 6 weeks into being a new father, so forgive me.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you. But my sleep and recall memory is slacking, that's for sure.
We're expecting our first. We got a girl coming in August.
Congrats. It's awesome. You'll have a blast.
Everyone goes, well, get your sleep now. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty lucky in our little girl's sleeping pretty well. But I've heard some terror stories. It's obviously worse for the new mom than it is the dad. But yeah, I used to get naps on a regular basis, and those kind of went away. So it's a little bit of adjustment, but it's kind of overblown a little bit.
Between Charles Barkley and Joel Embiid, if you could go out and get old fashions all night long, who would it be?
Barkley.
All right.
Because I don't even think Embiid drinks. He would be entertaining, but I think Barkley would have the story. Like, he's got more stories. He's got 25 more years of story. I'd pick his brain about the 92 Dream Team for an hour and a half alone.
Yeah.
I just think he would have better stories. Embiid might be more fun, but Barkley is a wealth of knowledge.
I would just have, like, the most random, 10-minute conversation about Space Jam.
Either one would be a win. I'd probably give a slight lean to Barkley there.
Do you watch the NBA draft in private or public? Like, what do you prefer?
In the past, because they've been so big, in public. I wanted to be out. There's a bar not too far from me on South Street, O'Neill's, that we usually go to, and we call it the War Room. This year, I'll probably be hanging out in private watching it. But I like being out in public. Not too big, but yeah, select group.
Who is the better player moving forward? A healthy Joel Embiid, fully healthy, or a Ben Simmons with a jump shot?
I still think Embiid. But if Simmons develops a jump shot, man, he's got a chance to really be something special. I still think Embiid, just slightly though.
So I'm a big foodie.
Yeah,
obviously, and I like to enjoy a few cocktails during the draft. It's one of my favorite nights of the year.
Mm-hmm.
What's your food and drink preference for the NBA draft?
Ooh, it just came to my mind, but I could really go for like a nice French dip sandwich, maybe out of the crock pot with an au jus, maybe something like that. And I would probably make a cocktail of some sort. You said old fashions, and now I'm thinking like that is my favorite cocktail.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so maybe an old fashioned would hit the spot. I also am a big fan of tequila cocktails, so depending on the weather, maybe that would dictate my drink.
Maybe we have to stop at Manayunk.
Yeah. Great food out of a crock pot.
NBA free agency starts in 2.5 weeks. If you're Elton Brand, what's your confidence level on re-signing both Jimmy and Tobias?
I think Tobias is going to be, because of the age, he'll have more max offers out there than Jimmy, so I'd be a little more concerned. He's already been tied to Utah, Sacramento, Chicago, the Mavericks, the Nets. Now with this KD news happening, I feel like he could be a backup plan for a Nets or a Knicks type of team. I just think he's going to have a wealth of max deals to pick from, whereas I think Jimmy might not have as many. And because of Jimmy saying he wants to win so badly, I think we present to him not only the most money but the best chance to win. So I'm more confident they keep Jimmy. I'm fairly confident they keep Tobias, but I would be more like 35-40% confidence there. But yeah, I think Jimmy I feel pretty good about. I really do.
Awesome, man. Dude.
Free agency is going to be fun. There's a couple guys out there I'd like to, if you don't get him in the draft, like a Darren Collinson, as a backup point guard, a vet. If he's not costing too much money, maybe a DeAndre Jordan as a backup center. That would intrigue me a whole hell of a lot. It's going to be fun. Free agency is going to be fun. There's a lot of holes to fill on this roster, and it's going to be fun to watch Elton go to work. It's
one of those weird years where we're so used to getting projects, guys that, if they learn how to shoot.
Yeah. No more. More.
Nah, man. It looks like we're of all the years that I think we'd be wheeling and dealing, the Sixers are going to need cheap contracts for multiple years, and this kind of looks like, at least for me, the Delaware Blue Coats are going to be set up after this draft.
Yeah. And also, a guy like Kevon Looney is coming out of Golden State. He would interest me a whole hell of a lot. I believe he has an option, perhaps. But if a guy like that became available, I would take a shot at him. There's a lot of guys. It's going to be fun. It really is.
Well, dude, thanks for joining, coming on to the Blue Root. Again, for our listeners, make sure you follow Jamie on Twitter. I'm sure you already do. At Lynch Jr.
I try to keep it entertaining on there.
What's that?
I try to keep it entertaining on that site. Hopefully, I give some entertaining content out there.
As always, listen to the Fanatic at 5 and the morning show on 97.5 Fanatic.
Thank you.
Anything else you got going on in your life you want to talk about?
No, not really. Just grinding away here. We're chipping away. We're gaining some ground, and things are going really well. Just having a lot of fun with some friends on the radio. It's not a bad job.
No, man. You do an awesome job. Thanks again. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Stay awesome, guys. See you.